Hey, today I'm going to be talking about 3 critical aspects you have to consider before you look for solutions to outsource or nearshore DevOps tech talent. So number 1, and this is probably the most important of all, look for outsourcing, nearshoring, staffing agencies with transparent rate pricing policies. For example, at Taylor Talent, we have a transparent rate policy that we disclose how much of the payment you make we keep and how much of that goes to our candidates, and it never surpasses 20%. What this means is that, let's say you hire a DevOps engineer for $7,000 per month, we charge $1,400 of that, and then the rest goes directly to the talent. So we are upfront about it, so the talent knows how much money we're keeping, and also the client. And within this transparent rate pricing model, it's also very important to make sure that the company that you're going to be working with, that they are upfront about the market rates that they're working with. So on their website, just make sure that you look for agencies that are transparent about the current market rates of different positions or different engineers that you're looking to outsource. And one of the important aspects of this transparent rate pricing is that if, let's say, you're going to websites of different agencies offering some type of outsourcing or nearshoring service, you want to make sure that they disclose their market rates. And this is very important because if they don't do this and you get on a phone call with, let's say, a sales rep, they're going to be asking you, what is your budget? And if you disclose like, hey, you know what, I have a budget of $10,000, then they're going to say like, hey, guess what? We have DevOps engineers for $10,000. They want you to disclose what type of price target you have so they can maximize their margins. And obviously this creates a lot of friction for a relationship down the line, because let's say if you're paying $10,000 for a DevOps engineer, but the company is paying $4,000 or $5,000 to the actual candidate, at the end of the day, it creates resentment and friction between this business model, and then the engineer is likely to leave eventually. So what we found at Taylor Talent is like, the more transparent you are about pricing, the better the relationship is going to be between the DevOps engineer actually doing the job and the client, because the client knows that most of the payment is actually going to the DevOps engineer doing the work. So point number 1, don't forget it, look for agencies with transparent rate pricing, super important. So aspect number 2, if you decide to outsource or nearshore tech talent, make sure that they are in your same time zone or within your same time zone. So for example, if you're in North America and you're in Canada, pick Latin America. If you're in Europe or you're in Asia, pick those same regions. Why? So in this example for DevOps, this type of role often involves continuous integration and continuous deployment, right? Where rapid and frequent changes made to the code base is really common in this practice. So immediate attention is required whenever you're working with a DevOps engineer. And if you're working with someone who is in a significantly different time zone, let's say you send a request or you send a message and then you have to wait until the next day to get a reply, this is not efficient. It's not the same as being on Slack or being on Teams and being able to message the engineer and knowing that they are in the same time zone as you and they're going to be able to reply quickly or get on a Zoom call or a Google Meets call super quick so you can have continuous communication. So we found that this is extremely critical. That's why at Taylor Talent, for example, we only nearshore DevOps engineers from Latin America, and most of our clients are in the US and Canada because they know how critical it is to have a team that is constantly in communication. So make sure that if you decide to outsource or nearshore a DevOps engineering team, that it is on your same time zone. Obviously, nearshoring, it means that you're actually having someone within the same time zone, but essentially just make sure that you are aligned with times and with the expectations with the engineers. And the final aspect you should always consider is just choose an agency that enables you to interview the candidate. This is very important because there's a lot of agencies that would just simply, if a candidate leaves that is already working with you, it has already essentially adapted to your local team. Let's say you're in San Francisco, you're in New York, you decided to nearshore DevOps talent in Colombia or in Mexico, and you have some great candidates working for you, and then they leave. Some agencies will just give you another candidate without giving you the chance to interview them and essentially make sure that they can follow the same interview process as the engineers that work with your team. So for us, we believe it's extremely critical you choose an agency that enables you to interview the candidate, because it's not only about the technical skills. Yeah, you can, like many different staffing or outsourcing agencies will be able to evaluate the technical part, but they need to be able to evaluate that the candidate is going to be aligned with your vision, with your mission, that they can actually be aligned with the cultural fit of your internal team, because at the end of the day, they're going to be part of your team. They're just not physically present in the US or in Canada, right? So you got to make sure that the candidates that are going to be working with you, that you're able to interview them, and make sure the agency that you work with enables you to have a candidate go through your process. Even if it's rigorous, you can have a process with 2, 3, 4 interviews, that's okay. But make sure that you're transparent about that with the agency or the partner that you're going to be working with. This will enable you to find candidates who are going to stay with you, there's going to be higher retention. Also, you're going to have an agency that is meeting your expectations because you were able to really filter the candidate that you wanted to be involved with your teams. So to recap, those are the 3 key aspects. Make sure you find an agency that has transparent rate pricing. Find an agency that has candidates that are going to be working in the same time zone. And make sure you work with an agency that enables you to interview candidates. So yeah, if you have any questions, check out tailoredtalent.com. We actually support many companies in the US and Canada, Nearshoring Devops engineer. As a company, we actually follow those 3 critical components that we believe are crucial for successful DevOps outsourcing. So check out tailoredtalent.com if you want to find out more about how you can nearshore or augment your team with DevOps tech talent.